It to do and welcome them into more important issues. Excuse me. It is Monday, July 8th. I know we're coming at you guys a day late. Birthdays, anniversaries, 4th of July. We had a long weekend.
It was a good weekend.
It was a good weekend. Landon's second anniversary. Not mine and him and his wife's.
That's coming up.
Yeah, it is coming up. But so they were busy celebrating that. I had birthday to celebrate. So busy weekend, and then obviously the 4th. Hope you guys had a wonderful holiday. Hope you guys enjoyed all that. Spending time with your family, spending time with friends.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
Saturday was fun.
Yeah, we did go. We went out on. I don't know if you guys got to go out on the lake or by the pool or whatever it may be, but we did. We had a great time.
It was hot.
My knee is cut up from that slip and slide. It's like little cuts too. It's really weird. I've got pants on, so
that slip and slide was
awesome.
It was awesome,
but it was definitely like a disaster waiting to happen. That's for
yeah.
Too.
And Caleb is the only person that went down without a tube twice.
It wasn't that bad. 3 times, right? Because I went all the way down without a tube 1 time. And then,
and then you followed us down when we all jumped on it.
The first time I pushed someone down and I accidentally pushed him off to the right because the way he was shaped, and then I just went down. I was like, screw it. And then the third time I couldn't catch you guys in time. Because y'all just started running.
And I could hear you behind us.
I was like, it was probably it's probably a guy chasing his car down a hill and he forgot to put on the parking brake or something. It's probably what it looked like. But yeah, so it was a fun weekend though. Had a good time. Celebrated the 4th right. Had a grilled out some dogs,
Some dogs.
They're
good dogs.
They were.
And then Jesse pulled out some beans out of the fridge. Who knows how long they'd been there?
They were delicious. I don't know. I think they were from the 4th, from that Thursday. I'm pretty sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Before we get into the episode, guys, I'm going to tell you guys about my friends at MyBookie. Since we started this show, I get asked all sorts of questions about who to bet on and who to bet with. I don't always know who's going to win, but I know where to go. The answer is MyBookie. Between their live in-game betting, endless props, and fantasy sports wagers, there's something for everyone. With the best player perks in the sportsbook business, they've been good to us, and we know they'll be good to you. They're hooking our listeners up all month. If you visit mybookie.ag and use the promo code ISSUE when creating your account to claim your 50% bonus, laying down $100, you've now got an extra $50 to play with. That's mybookie.ag, promo code ISSUE. You play, you win, you get paid. I just made a deposit today because I'm betting on the home run derby.
Oh, who'd you pick? Can you tell? Can you tell people?
I don't know if I'm allowed. I'll tell you this, who I would bet on because of the odds. And I'm not saying I bet this person, but because of the odds, I bet on Acuna.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't know the names. But the odds are good.
That's a good pick.
He's got some of the better odds, or not the better odds, but better odds for your money. Some of the worst odds to win it. And he is playing one of the better guys in the first round. I do hate how they do that. That kind of makes it harder to... I feel like if it was just by how many you hit personally, I feel like he might have a better chance. If you look at him against everybody. But he plays Josh Bell in the first round.
That's going to be a good matchup. Because Josh Bell's solid. But Acuna is athletic. And I feel like it is about power, but it's also about endurance.
I was about to say, he can go for a while, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So I'm kind of hoping that's the case. But yeah, so head on over to MyBookie, deposit that. If it's your first time getting in, 50% bonus. They've also, if you're on MyBookie already, go check out their bonuses tab. It's just a couple tabs over, and they've got a bunch of new. If you're a current if you got a current account, you can still get a few good bonuses in there if you're reloading money into there. So check that out. MyBookie's awesome, guys. Excited to work with them, especially with football season coming up. A lot of bets to be made, a lot of money to be won, but only at MyBookie. So check them out.
Go check them out.
So football season's right around the corner, like I said. We're continuing our position preview series. We're looking in the secondary, safeties in particular. I think this is one of the more exciting positions, not just on the defense, but on the team this year, because you've got some experience there with some young talent, but because of what our rosters looked like the last 2 years, experience as well.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more veteran groups there. Even though you still probably start a sophomore and Trayvon Flowers. But you have Nigel Warrior, who has been there, been the starter for 2 years. And I think he's been solid. He's been a good leader for us. He's not probably been everything we want him to be, but he's a good tackler. He's good in run support. He had 64 tackles last year. I think that was second on the team. So been a solid player. You know, his ball skills have been kind of iffy. He's dropped a lot of interceptions.
I feel like we've lacked ball skill, honestly, since like Todd Kelly's freshman year. Yeah. I feel like his freshman year, everything hit him in the hands. And then, sorry about that, guys. Did y'all hear that, or was it just on my? I don't know.
I didn't hear it.
Okay, cool. It was on vibrate. I was like, I don't know where I heard it though. But you know, he was kind of just, the ball hit him everywhere. He was always in the right place on the field. And then since that, who's kind of been that guy?
Yeah.
Last year, oh my gosh. Alontae Taylor had a few kind of bounce his way, but not necessarily just in pat. Like he picked up, I think he had the fumble pickup against Auburn.
In the touchdown.
So he had a couple of those kind of happen that way. So maybe that'll be. But yeah, we haven't had kind of that ball hawk, ball falls to him kind of guy since probably Todd Kelly's freshman year.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes with confidence. If you're thinking so much about where you're supposed to be, that takes into effect you catching the football.
Yeah.
So I feel like last season was a big transition period for a lot of these guys, learning a new defense and everything. So look for this team to be much improved. I think with the addition of Derek Ansley will be huge for them, and also Jeremy Pruitt just being around the defense a lot more will definitely help out.
Right. I mean, and it seems to be that he enjoys working in the secondary, so I kind of always look for them to improve too.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know that, I don't necessarily think they have a ton of room, but we also, what was the stat this year? We saw we were like the second ranked in the last 4 weeks, but everybody just ran on us, so
right.
It didn't matter at all.
And that could be the same this year with so many question marks on our defensive line. You know, that we might not see a lot of.
We might look really good in the secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think this is a big year for Nigel Warrior, especially he has that NFL type body to play safety. You know, will it transition on the field?
Right.
That's definitely a question mark. And then Trayvon Flowers hasn't played a lot of football in his life, just played his senior year of high school and was committed to Kentucky to play baseball, and then came onto the scene as a 3-star recruit. Clemson really wanted him. Tennessee ended up getting him. But he's putting more of that focus into football now. He's not I think he's kind of done with baseball. He didn't play this past season. Not really sure what that was. We didn't really hear anything about it. He just never was on the baseball roster.
Right, and we expected him to be. I think. We talked about that a little bit after football season, heading into baseball, and kind of expected him to be there. And like you said, never was on the roster. And that could have been. I think you mentioned this a few episodes ago. That could have been. Looking forward, he was probably almost guaranteed that starting spot in the secondary. So It may have been that you just need to be around the team, around the game more. And I don't know if Pruitt was necessarily swaying him away from baseball by saying that. I mean, he could have been very easily, but he also could have just been like, if you're looking to really take your football career somewhere, this may be the better move for where you're at as far as football goes. You need to improve a lot if you want it to take you somewhere. So you kind of decide what. And that may be the case.
Yeah, I think with him, he has the intangibles. He has the athletic ability. He hasn't played that much football, but he was a starter for us, so it's there. I think it's just playing more football is going to be his biggest thing. Last year, he missed 5 games due to injury. So if he's able to stay healthy, I look for him to be much improved. He was actually one of my breakout players a couple weeks ago whenever we did that. But then after him, that's when you're like,
who's next?
Yeah, because, you have guys like Theo Jackson, who hasn't had a huge impact, but is a solid reserve back there. And then Sean Schamberger played a lot his freshman year and hasn't really seen much of him since then.
He's just a junior this year, though, right?
Right, yeah.
So we just missed him. He just never really got much last year is what it was, right?
Right, and he played around. He played in that. I think he could be that nickel back. He could be another cornerback. I don't really know where he's supposed to be, but look for him. I think he spent much of spring as a safety. So look for him to be an option back there. You have Malik Gray, who's been all over the place, receiver, cornerback. Now he's back at safety. Cheyenne LaBruza. Jalen McCullough, he's one of my one of the guys I'm really excited with this freshman class. He had 2 picks in the orange and white game, so look for him to get some reps early. Came from a good high school. And then Aaron Beasley is also another 3-star freshman coming in. From Heard County, led them to a state championship, and he played running back and linebacker, and I think some secondary positions in high school. So I don't really know. He wasn't an early enrollee, so I don't really know exactly where they're wanting to put him, but look for him to be an option back there as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like Jalen McCullough. You mentioned him. I like him a lot to come in and make at least somewhat of an immediate impact. I'm not saying he's taking starting jobs or even playing significant playing time, but I think he'll help us in the secondary this year. I think look for him to do that.
Yeah, and with Tennessee running so many defensive back, they rarely have just 4 defensive backs on the field at one time. It's usually 5, sometimes even 6, which is crazy to think about. But
hopefully not this year if we can get the D-line and linebacker settled in. Hopefully that's not. I mean, obviously there may be scenarios that call for it, but like you said, it seems like a lot of the time we had those weird formations defensively.
Yeah, and if those are your playmakers, then I guess you got to have them on the field. But yeah, I mean, look for guys like Jalen McCullough to make an immediate impact. Even if it's not at safety, it could be somewhere else in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. This is, like I said, it's a young group, but there's also experience through that group too. And a lot of it was kind of throw into the fire experience. So it's not necessarily the best experience, but it is some experience, which is good. It definitely will help them, even though some few of them were thrown into the fire. I mean, I don't think we've previewed the defensive back or the corners, but we talked about them a lot. Yeah. We definitely haven't. But we've talked about them a lot this offseason. And we talked about how excited we are for them. They did well. They were young last year. I think this is another group that was young last year, but they did all right. And I think they'll do all right again this year. Hopefully more into the good category. Right. But I think they have the ability to, especially with Nigel Warrior kind of being that anchor of it. I think that helps a lot. I think look for him to step up in a big way. I don't know if he'll necessarily be a captain of this team, but he's definitely going to be a leader in that defensive unit. Yeah. Or he should be, I should say.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about the safeties, and not just safeties, the cornerbacks, like you said. But yeah, it's probably going to come up. The defensive line is what's going to make or break the safeties.
Yeah, I mean,
really good or really bad.
It impacts it in such a major way. I mean, look at the year we had Barnett and Vereen. I don't think our defensive backs were necessarily any better than this group we have right here. Yeah. But the pressure they were able to create, you're not killing your secondary by making them work. I mean, it's a big difference. Every player we've had on here will tell you, game is won in the trenches. I mean, that's not a coincidence, or it's not a coincidence. It's not just cliche. It's very, very, very true. I mean, that is crucial. It's what separates us from, these teams that obliterate us. And I mean,
yeah, because there can be some busted coverages, but if you have a guy like Darryl Taylor coming off the edge and he's hitting the quarterback has to have time to get the ball out there. So
yeah, I mean, you can be playing the best coverage in the world, not just the busted coverage, best coverage in the world, and if that quarterback has all the time in the world, a wide receiver is eventually going to get open. Yep. So, yeah, it's pretty sad. Hopefully we can kind of figure that out this year.
I'm excited to see Derek Ansley kind of lead this whole defensive back, or whole defense, I guess, but he hasn't been a defensive coordinator yet, so that's going to be a big transition for him. So hopefully he's able to come in here and I think Jeremy Pruitt kind of mentoring him in that will probably be a good thing. Right. I would say. Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, I think you mentioned you said it. Jeremy Pruitt can hopefully spend more with Jim Chaney, a offense coordinator who's seasoned and has had that control and done it for a while. Unlike Tyson Helton, hopefully that gives him more time to spend with the defense, because we know that's definitely where he'd rather be. So he, that goes into that kind of mentoring aspect of that, and I think it just helps our defense all together. And I think Jim Chaney is obviously going to help the offense, but I think he also helps the defense by getting a guy in here who's done it before. Yeah. So, no doubt of the year, I'm not jumping on the Clemson bandwagon. Honestly, didn't think about it. I just look for a hat on my way out the door. And I was like, oh, I'm going to wear my Tennessee Titleist hat.
Wait, he said that was a Clemson hat?
No. I'm wearing the purple and orange. So,
gotcha.
I probably should jump on the Clemson bandwagon, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I mean, I do like winning, but not at that cost. Not at that cost. Yeah, it is. That is a good thing. Is it is a Tennessee hat? But yeah, I see where the confusion could come. See where it could come.
Gotcha.
We're gonna stay on the football track for a minute. We're gonna talk about the biggest game this fall. I assume when Landon handed me this outline, he meant biggest game for not just the Vols, but also Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can make it kind of what you want.
Right, I took some liberties. You guys tell us what you think the biggest games are this fall. For me, it's there's kind of two. Well, I don't know if you wanted just one biggest.
I kind of have two as well.
Or two of like the main games that I think at this point are have to wins. And I'll say the first one, I'll go ahead and lead off of this one because it wasn't a have to win back in probably May, April. But what's happened this offseason, I think it's become a must win, and it's Florida.
Okay.
And I know that sounds crazy. You're going into the swamp. You're coming off one of the worst years in Tennessee history. Not the worst, but I mean, it was a tough year. You did beat Auburn. That's good. So I'm sorry. I stretched that. Not the worst year by far. You had a lot of bad years, similar years with Dewey, and then obviously the 4-7 season or 4-8 season with Butch / whatever the intern's name is, all caps guy. Can't think of his name.
Brady Hoke.
Brady Hoke. Couldn't think of his name right now. But yeah, I think Florida with the offseason they're having, they're losing a ton of momentum for their team, and it's not just it started to not just be the freshmen that are coming in. They're losing some guys that have been on the team for a while.
Yeah.
It's becoming harder.
You just hate to see it, right?
Do what?
You just hate to see it.
You hate to see it. But it's becoming harder and harder for them to look at them and go, that's a tough team to beat. I'm putting this game out there. And I mean, it doesn't say we're not listed as biggest game you must win. I think you need to win it from my perspective, I think with the way the team's doing it. I don't know how y'all feel about it. Don't know how you feel about it. Florida's definitely not a gimme win by any means. But it just seems really crucial at the time. Can you go in and beat a team that's on their heels?
Yeah.
And you get them early in the season. I mean, they're not going to have a ton of momentum coming in. What do they play? Their 3 cupcake games before us. So, I think this is turned with the way the offseason is going. If it's not turned into it by now, it probably will by then into a must win.
Yeah. I think my biggest must win for Jeremy Pruitt will definitely be South Carolina.
Okay.
We've lost the last 3 to South Carolina, and they haven't been much better than us. I think the combined scores are like the last 3 games have been a combined 12-point difference.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between us and South Carolina the last few years is quarterback play.
Yeah.
So you look at that year, the Josh Dobbs year. That week was a tough week for Tennessee overall. You had a lot of just weird stuff going on in the program. But I think if you take that out, Josh Dobbs kind of takes over and wins that game for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think Josh Dobbs, it's very clear Josh Dobbs won the previous games for us.
Yep.
Well, then, the last 2 years, what have you not had? Really good quarterback play.
Right.
And what's Carolina had consistent quarterback play.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree in terms of it's a very winnable game. And you see it as a must win.
I see it as a must win just because maybe I don't think of Florida as so much as a must win because it is in Gainesville. Now, if it was at home, I would see it in a much more must win position.
Being in Gainesville does steer me off of it. It's just I think this is a team. It's not like they can gain momentum by beating a big opponent before they play you. That's kind of what draws it in for me. But yeah, I agree. It being in Gainesville does kind of steer you off of the must win.
I think it's a big game because you can't go into Gainesville and get blown out.
No, that is certainly not the case.
Right.
You can't. Dad of the Year has Mississippi State. He says it's a trap game. I don't necessarily disagree. This is Charlie, Dad of the Year, 420. He's got an old username. That makes sense. Hey, Charlie. And then Luke Thomas has MSU and BYU he thinks are must-wins. BYU, yes, is a must-win.
Okay.
I almost don't even want to say it aloud because I feel like you got to go. I mean,
I also had BYU as one of must-wins. I'll finish up with South Carolina just because we were talking about it. But South Carolina is kind of the end of that gauntlet.
it is, yeah. You can get out of it
Yeah.
and feel good if you get that one.
Right, because you get Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, Alabama, South Carolina. And as much as, the Florida, I don't know about Georgia, but Florida, Mississippi State are winnable games. They're also losable games.
I don't know if Georgia's a winnable game.
Yeah.
But I think it's certainly a game that you can hold on to and at least not let get out of control.
Yeah. And I think this is Jake Bentley's last season. He's embarrassed us. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback.
He's consistent. That's
it. He's probably better than what we have.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I'd say yes.
I say that lightly.
And I don't even necessarily mean the natural talent. But as far as just quarterback goes, I would say he's better.
And that winning, like he just wins games, especially against us.
You don't need to have the best stats if you win games.
Right. And I think Muschamp he's been that defensive guru, but it hasn't been South Carolina's defense that's beat us.
Not necessarily, no.
It's like last year they just ran the ball down our throat.
Right.
So I mean, it wasn't Jake Bentley either. It was just we were that bad.
Right.
So I think it ends. I think we have the coaching staff to match up well with South Carolina, which we have matched up well the past 3 meetings that we've lost. But now I think we have an over the top. We have the advantage at probably I would say our 2 coordinators are better than their 2 coordinators. I would say that.
Offensive, yes. Defensive, I'm not willing to say that.
Well, I kind of think of Jeremy Pruitt as our defensive coordinator.
If we're running off that, then yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
My next one, and it's tough to call this the biggest game, but you have to because of the record the last few years, kind of similar to South Carolina. Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
This is the reason I say it's biggest. I said it before we got into this in terms of I thought of biggest in terms Jeremy Pruitt, not just the team. Jeremy Pruitt. If you don't win this game, your seat is red hot.
Oh yeah.
I can promise you there'll be some guys calling fire Jeremy Pruitt on their Twitter headlines. There's no doubt in my mind. And I don't necessarily blame them. But yeah, it sucks you got to call that a biggest game, but we got to beat them before we can overlook them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I mean, they come to Knoxville this year, which is nice for you. Go and take care of business against Vanderbilt. You're more talented than them. There's no doubt in my mind. I think the season kind of seeming like it was over did hurt us a little bit, but that when you're playing again, it sucks to say it, when you're playing a rival, you have to get up for it, whatever the stakes are in that game. And that can't be a disappointment. Vanderbilt can't be a disappointment, no matter what the season's been like.
Yeah,
they can't keep you. They can never keep you out of a New Year's Six bowl ever again. That cannot be what happens.
Right.
Not adding Jeremy Pruitt right now, but yeah, that stinks to say it's one of our biggest games. But I think it is just because of the implications it potentially could hold at that point in the season, and then the implications it could hold for Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah, and I would say BYU, but I'm going to go a little bit further than that. I'm going to say Georgia State just because that is our first game.
Set the tone. Don't be a boring cupcake game.
You got to set the tone for the rest of the season. You got to give these fans something they want to come to more games about.
I mean, show your whole hand if that's what it takes to beat them 63-0.
Yeah.
Like Lane Kiffin's first game against Western Kentucky, it was fun to watch. I mean, it was. That team wasn't necessarily better than this team, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah. I
mean, they were probably deeper. We weren't in trouble yet, so in terms of our program, but they probably weren't. I'd have to go look at it again. The quarterback wasn't better, and I like Crompton, but he wasn't better than Garantano. I mean,
I look at 2016 when we played Appalachian State, and I mean, we had a ton of NFL talent on that roster, and I'm not saying Appalachian State was a terrible opponent. They weren't.
They weren't 7-0 with us though.
Yeah. No.
Or whatever it ended up being, 10-7. What was the final?
I don't know. It wasn't that low.
No, it wasn't. It was something low though, because it was bad. It was a depressing game.
Yeah, but to go into overtime, they weren't that good to go into overtime with. It was 20-13.
20-13. Okay.
Yep.
That shows how much I didn't want to remember that game. I remember that going down 7-0, and it was an unfortunate start in terms of the fumble. Gave them great field position on their technically their second offensive drive. And Dallas putting his head in between his legs. We're going to lose to Appalachian State. We're terrible. We suck. Dallas, there are 12 minutes left in the first quarter, and we're down 7-0. It's going to be all right, buddy. I was wrong. That season ended up really sucking.
Yeah.
But that was the game that kept us out of the the Sugar Bowl, the Vanderbilt game. So yeah, I think that's got to be one of the bigger ones. Luke Thomas, I believe it was Luke that said he believes Georgia's more winnable than Florida. I think I'm not willing to say that's more winnable. This Florida team, they were somewhat talented, but not much more talented than us last year.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't much more talented than us.
That game,
the biggest thing in that game was 6 turnovers.
And the big thing with Georgia, you're going to see how big of an asset Jim Chaney really is.
Oh, certainly. But that offense is still very talented, too.
Oh, yeah. They have a lot more talent than Florida does.
Yeah.
And I would say he probably is just saying that. I'm not being mean or anything, but he's probably just saying that because we played Georgia at home and Florida's away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So that might be a reason why he's saying that.
No, that makes sense. I mean, definitely. I mean, the only reason, again, that I put Florida there is just because of I don't think they'll have any momentum going into it. I don't see how you would unless you're able to just really get your team going and beat every single opponent that you play before us really soundly and confidently, which is possible. Yep. I feel like Florida always takes care of business. Not always, but most of the time. Better than Tennessee takes care of business in those games. And then it is in Gainesville, and that's not an easy win ever, but Butch Jones almost did it in the worst year in Tennessee history. You're a freaking Philip Franks 60-yard bomb and Abernathy dropping into coverage away from beating Florida in this one. And that was a terrible team.
That was a bad team.
So
thank God for John Kelly. We probably wouldn't have won a game.
No. I mean, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, if Abernathy just doesn't let a man run behind him on the freaking last play of the game. Good God. How?
I still don't know how it happened.
I don't either. That's why I yelled that so many times. I'm glad I told him I'd cheer against him in the NFL that day. If he ever got there. I didn't think it was going to happen, but if he ever did.
Who knows? I mean, Justin Coleman's showing out. He wasn't that good here.
I feel like he was underrated at Tennessee.
He was definitely better than Abernathy.
Yeah. He was underrated. I mean, I'm not willing to call him great or anything, but he was underrated.
Yeah.
Moving into recruiting news. I promise we cheer for Tennessee players. That was a bad day overall. I mean, watching a quarterback named Philip Franks heave a 60-yard bomb. I think it was 62, wasn't it? Something ridiculous.
I don't want to know what
it was. Stupid. That was. We had such a good day that day. The burgers were good. The beer was cold.
Yep.
All we had to do was beat Florida in the swamp. It's gonna be 11 more years, isn't it?
I hope not. Jesus Christ. Hopefully it's this year.
I hope so too. I hope so.
We'll see. Recruiting news. So the last time we talked, we had a 2021 cornerback commit. That's Jay Jones out of Demopolis, Alabama. Committed to Tennessee. I think he came to Tennessee May 31st, and then Tennessee offered him there, and then he committed on the 4th. It's a big commit. If he's not yet rated yet, he probably will. I'd say once you get once you get a big Power 5 commitment, usually that recruitment really picks up.
Right.
And that's Tennessee's 3rd commitment of this 2021 class. They're currently ranked 13th nationally in that 2021 class. So they currently have 4-star wide receiver Jordan Mosley, 3-star running back / athlete Elijah Howard, and then added Jay Jones. So 3 commits already. It's a good way to start that 2021 class.
Yeah, maybe we won't be freaking out, this time next year when we don't have, or I guess like 2 months ago next year when we don't have any commits, or what feels like no commits.
And so staying with football, the 2020 class, Tennessee had some guys in the opening finals. That was Cooper Mays, Keyshawn Lawrence, and Harrison Bailey. All looked pretty good. Everything I read about each one of those guys was they look like they should. They look good. Harrison Bailey looked good in the Elite 11. Keyshawn Lawrence looked good at safety. From what I read about him, that he just looks the part. And everybody likes to be around him. He has that natural leadership quality about him. So I think that's good to have him as your top recruit in this class right now.
Right. You need a big headliner is nice to have.
Right. And then Cooper Mays, was actually like they made like a team. I think 247 did like a team of the opening, like their all-stars or whatever. And Cooper Mays actually made it. He was the lowest rated one that actually made that one. So look for his ratings to go up. I think he's a solid. He's put on a lot of weight to really play that center position. I think be more versatile that he could maybe play guard or even tackle. I think he's a solid offensive lineman, and I'm really excited to see him play around the Knoxville area this season. Hopefully we get to go to a couple games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then
Got to find those Friday night times.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't have to go set up the tailgate on Fridays anymore, so that's good.
Yeah, maybe we go to the Thursday night ones. We can rest the Friday night ones. And then basketball. Keon Johnson announced that he will I think he already announced that he was going to make his decision on August 6th. But he said he put a reaffirming time that he's going to do it at this time, this place, and anybody's welcome to come. But he is the number one player in Tennessee for that 2020 class out of Bell Buckle, Tennessee. He goes to the Webb School, which I've never heard of before. I heard of Webb in Knoxville, but not the Webb School.
I knew about the Webb School of Bell Buckle, probably mainly just because I knew about Webb, but yeah.
Okay,
I knew about it.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, he's the number 31 player in this class, and probably Tennessee's biggest headliner that they're kind of going after in this class. And we will see August 6th. I think his finalists are Tennessee, Virginia, and Ohio State.
Nice.
And that's all I got for recruiting. It's kind of slow right now because it's dead period.
Is it still dead period?
They go back. They went back today, actually.
Okay.
I think today was their first day back.
I thought dead period ended today.
Yeah.
So. Gotcha. So yeah, it's about to pick up once again. Moving on to Vols in the NBA Summer League in Vegas. Did you see, before we get into that, did you see the earthquake go on during the, who was it, the Suns maybe?
Yeah.
Was it the Suns and the Pelicans, their game?
I saw that.
A little scary. Like the speakers were swaying. It's very scary, but
I'd be running out that
yeah,
place.
for real. Everybody looked really calm, except for the fans did not, but the players looked like, no big deal.
Yeah.
But other than that, 3 Vols officially participating. Did I see Alexander was participating with the Heat though?
Yes.
Okay. So, but have they played yet? I forgot to check that.
Yeah, he's actually played 5 games so far.
Oh, has he? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so Kyle Alexander, Schofield, Jarnell Stokes, Grant Williams, and now Jordan Bone made his debut today.
Yes, he did. Grant, man, I was talking to someone yesterday. I said, man, Grant might make me rethink my whole who has the highest ceiling in the NBA. You just can't take basketball IQ for granted. He just looked like he knew everything that was going on the court at all times.
And I think he has just that, again, I was talking about Keyshawn Lawrence and his natural leadership quality.
Mm-hmm.
That's Grant Williams to a T.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's fun to just watch him. They had him mic'd up the other night of him just coaching up guys. And from what we've seen, like different videos and stuff, that him and that class that came in with the Celtics are really close already. I think they're 2-0 already.
Oh, wow. So
Grant Williams, he might not be the best player on your roster, but he could be there for a long time, and you know what you're going to get out of him.
Right.
And you get everything he's got every play.
I mean, when you look at his stats the other night, he recorded just about every stat you can. 4 for 8 from field goal range, 2 for 4 from 3-point range, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks.
Yep.
I mean, he's all over the court. You just can't. I don't know. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. It sucks not to have him in Orange anymore. I mean, happy to be make money in the NBA. It's just you would have loved to have him for 4 years. Would have loved to have him for that last year of his career.
He shoots just fine from 3. Just fine.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually, I feel like I said that a lot of people are like, I mean, he's got to get his, I was like, I feel like he's good from 3. He's just got to have the confidence to do it.
Yeah. Spread the floor.
Yep. He'll be all right. He's going to be all right in the NBA.
And then Kyle Alexander, he's played in 5 games, which is crazy
That
because
is.
Grant and Admiral have only played 1. And
Right.
So, is Bone.
So does it start earlier for the guys who don't get drafted? How does that work?
I know that Miami played in some like little tournament or whatever. Because they're not just playing NBA teams. I know that like China has a team that a couple teams play and different stuff like that. So through 5 games, Kyle Alexander has had averaging 13.8 minutes, 3.6 points, 4.6 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, and is 7 for 18 from the field, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. In the last 2 games, he's averaged 6 rebounds per game. So
nice. Where man gets paid.
Yeah, and his last game, I think he had 21 minutes. So I feel like it's picking up a lot more for him as this summer league kind of goes on. And then Schofield, he had a solid game. 9 points, 24 minutes, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 for 6 from field, 1 for 3 from 3, and then 2 for 2 from the free throw line. And then Jarno Stokes is with the Portland Trailblazers. I didn't
realize he's with the Trailblazers now.
Yep. So he's played 2 games. He's averaging 19.3 minutes per game, 5.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, is 4 for 8 from the field. And then like you read Grant's stats a second ago, and I feel like all these guys have the tools to make an NBA roster. Hopefully they.
Yeah, Jarnell Stokes is getting older, and just I think he was on a roster a couple years ago for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I think for the Heat, actually.
Yeah, I think so too, and just seemed like it was never gonna. Seemed like he just couldn't really crack that. I think he was in the G League and just couldn't move up, get that final jump. Maybe moving to a different team helps him, but he is getting older.
Yeah,
I think he spent last season overseas, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
So
I think I've seen that too. One thing about him is just the NBA has transitioned to spread the floor, so there's not. I mean, Grant Williams is the type of player who can body somebody in the paint, but he can also step out and shoot it.
Right. That's the difference between him and Jarnell.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible for Jarnell, but I think everybody else you talked about has a better chance than Jarnell Stokes. Maybe not so much Alexander. If he can create a presence down low and get rebounds, though.
And he's a good defender.
Yeah, he is.
He can go out on the perimeter and defend somebody.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think a lot of it's encouraging to see them doing decent in the summer league, and some of them doing well. We were just watching before we started Jordan Bone with the Pistons, the Pistons. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see them all doing well. Most of them have only played 1 game.
Yep.
So I mean, still a lot to play. But pretty good to see the Vols that I think a lot of people thought, especially Grant Williams, was overrated, which is crazy. He won 2 SEC Player of the Years, was a consensus All-American. He's not overrated, would never be the right word.
Yeah.
But then they said his game couldn't translate. Now he's hitting threes. It looks like his game is going to translate.
Did you see
him
find
at least a role player, which is what we expect him to be?
Did you see him destroy that guy the other night? I think it was the 76ers.
I don't think I saw him destroy. I saw him his first touch of the game. He went and 2-hand slammed it.
Yeah. Well, so one guy was running down the court, and Grant just stood his ground, and the dude just went flying.
Really?
Yeah. Just absolutely.
Was there any call at all?
No, not on that. The guy, I think, tried to throw it.
Oh, okay.
And threw it out of bounds, and he just kept running, and Grant just stood there and just.
Who did he get the game-winning charge against? Who was that? It was bold. We were not getting calls that game.
Who was that?
I can't remember.
It wasn't Vanderbilt.
It wasn't. It was Schofield that took the game-winning charge. It wasn't Grant.
Yeah,
it was Schofield.
Right.
Was it Vanderbilt? It wasn't. I can't remember, but it was bold. Was it South Carolina? I don't remember. But yeah, that was okay. So a different guy, but again, a very, very bold play for sure. You got anything else for Vols in the NBA before I move on here?
No. I'm definitely excited to see this NBA season with free agency has kind of put I don't know how you would say it, kind of put balance toward the NBA. There's no team that has just a far better team than anybody else.
Yeah, I think this NBA season will be more fun. Personally, I'll be watching a lot more just because of the Vols that'll be in it. I actually added the 76ers to like my favorite team on my DVR today. Mm-hmm. So I expect to watch more NBA. We'll see if I can do it. I mean, I've already watched I think 3 summer league games now. So
Ole Miss.
I mean, I'm moving on Ole Miss. Okay, so I'm getting there. I think. But moving on, Landon put World Cup on here, which I was very surprised about. Didn't think that was going to happen. I do want to mention.
I just thought you would like that.
You're right. Absolutely. I'm excited. But before I jump into that, we're going to do a little talking soccer here. I'm taking and running with it, guys. Vols Soccer actually.
I messed up giving you the opportunity.
You did. Lady Vols Soccer released their 2019 schedule today. Real quick on just kind of what it entails. 5 of Tennessee's SEC matchups will be against 2018 tournament participants. They will go to Vanderbilt and South Carolina, who were both ranked in the top 25. Their out of conference schedule, I don't really know how these teams are ranked, but they definitely got a few of them have some soccer names that are quality. And Fordham, Mercer, Rutgers, Columbia, they do play Southeastern Louisiana, Cincinnati, UMass, UC Davis. So several good quality soccer schools on that list. And then obviously playing inside the SEC isn't easy. Tennessee brought in the top 5 recruiting class. I don't remember the exact number. Brought in a really quality recruiting class. A couple transfers, not just grad transfers, but a couple transfers in that can really help this team, who had a quality year, finishing 16-3-3. I think they'll have another really good year under Brian Pinsky. Super excited for those games. If you are a soccer fan, or maybe if you're not, and you find yourself, wanting to get into it, those games are free. So go check them out. I mean, there's nothing to lose there. Go check them out, and especially like a Friday. I know on Friday, a lot of Friday nights, I'd go down and we'd have to set up our tailgating spot, and I'd run over and catch those games. And sometimes the Sunday afternoon games are hard to get to, but like I said, they're free. So go check them out, Lady Vols.
And they're good too.
They are. I expect them to have another good year this year. Got a lot of. You do return a lot of talent. You do lose Bunny Shaw, but you return a lot of talent, and I expect. Don't know how far they'll go. You just kind of don't know with what the SEC has and what the all around the country have, but I do expect another quality year. I mean, definitely the Elite Eight is not easy to come by. And then you lost to Stanford, who again, soccer name. You know they're going to be good each year. But yeah, wanted to bring that up since it was released today, and wanted to let you guys know about that if you don't keep up.
How many games do they play like in the season?
In the season,
they play like as much as baseball, or is it?
No. Okay. It's like 15. I can count for it real quick, actually. Regular season, and then they do play an SEC tournament and then an NCAA tournament.
Okay.
Let's see. They've got.
I was just curious. I didn't know how
18
long.
games on the regular season this year.
Gotcha.
And I mean, those could be. I don't think they have exhibitions.
Do they have any like tournaments that they're in?
No, they don't do. There may be tournaments out there, but they don't have any like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they don't. The soccer schedule is kind of weird because I mean it's funny. Last year the girls got knocked out in I think it was technically the second round of the SEC tournament, but they had a first round bye, I believe. I'm trying to remember this exactly. And I mean they still went to the NCAA tournament obviously because of the year they had.
Yeah.
It's almost like at that point, it's almost better to, especially with the way our roster worked last year, where we weren't very deep. It's almost better just if you're guaranteed to get in the NCAA tournament, just lose that first game and you're not having to wear yourself out for.
And is the SEC dominant in soccer as well?
Dominant, no, but good quality.
Okay.
A higher ranked team. You do have the ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12 are all very quality. I'm not saying they're better than the SEC. SEC's up there though. I think last year the SEC finished with 2 or 3 teams inside the top 10 of women's soccer.
So it's not like softball where like every
No.
SEC team is in the top 25.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of quality teams in the SEC, but no, not every team's necessarily in that. I'd go out on a limb and say just about every SEC team that does have the ability to. I mean,
okay,
they're top 25, maybe not, but up there on the upper end of schools.
Gotcha.
Top 25 is definitely. I feel like that might be a stretch, but they're up there. You do have. I don't know for the softball. I mean, I assume probably softball Pac-12 is pretty dominant as well.
Yeah.
Where does the ACC stand? I'm gonna go ahead and assume the Big Ten isn't good.
UCLA, Arizona,
Yeah.
those teams are good in
So
softball.
the women actually, Lady Vols knocked Arizona out of the NCAA tournament last year. So
Gotcha.
So give you an example of like Pac-12 schools are around.
Yeah.
We'll talk about more later. But like I said, I expect to talk more about it because I expect them to be good. So we'll talk about it plenty, and hopefully all positives and only positives. But yeah, we want to talk about World Cup. Obviously, the women won it.
Woo!
And just to read off, this is insane. They never trailed for the entire tournament. They broke the record for most goals scored in 26. They only allowed 3, which is the least amount besides Germany, who only had 3 as well. So they tied for the least amount. They beat the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place team on their way to the trophy. And they beat the host France, who was also one of the favorites to win it. So it was not an easy tournament run. They took care of business. Yep. I mean, the greatest... I think this is the best, which is insane because there's been so many good U.S. teams. But to make a dominant run like that, and some of their games you watched and you didn't necessarily think that, but when you make a dominant run like that, how can you deny them? The greatest U.S. soccer team of all time. So
I was watching yesterday, and then it went to halftime, and I went to Myrtle's Chicken for my anniversary. And
got me hungry now.
And then they were up 2-0. I was like, what the heck? It was like 15 minutes I drove down the road, and they were already up 2-0.
I mean, I thought we were going to score 5 goals in that 15-minute span that you're talking about. Like, after our PK, I mean, it was just a bombardment of attacks.
Yeah.
So,
in the first half I watched, it seemed like, and I don't know that much about soccer, but it looked like the U.S. controlled the ball. It looked like it was always on our side.
Mm-hmm. I'd say we definitely...
It just looked like we were dominating the game. Now, the score didn't result. It was 0-0 at halftime, but it looked like we were winning or dominating the match.
I would agree that it definitely looked like we were in control. Yeah.
Yep.
I was going to say something else about it. Oh, while it's a hot topic, too, I'm just going to go ahead and give you my take on the U.S. equal pay thing. So, I guess I've never stated it correctly. I do think they should get paid equally. And that means when they play friendlies, they should get paid. So the men get paid win, lose, or tie. And at some point, this may have changed. The women used to only get paid for win and ties or just wins or something. First off, I don't think you should get paid for losses. You can pay them while they're so they call it camp when they're practicing with the international team in camp. But if they lose, I don't think they should get paid for that day. You lost. Don't get paid for that. But on game days like that, now World Cup, obviously you're not going to get paid the same because the men's World Cup generates a crap ton more than the women's, but they should be paid equal percentages of the payout. And that's just kind of that sucks that the women's World Cup doesn't make as much as the men. But as far as percentages go, as far as wins go, as far as ties go, I think you should be paid the exact same amount. And then,
if they're just getting paid for wins and ties, the women are probably going to get paid more anyway.
I think the men still, because of the way the payout worked, the World Cup payout, they still got paid. I mean, I'm sure they did. I'm 100% confident in that.
Yeah.
And
that was probably me just joking about
the women.
The
women are much better.
A lot better.
It's it's different. But
what did you think about is it Rapinoe? Is that how you say it?
Rapinoe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I don't think a lot of people were like, oh, she was stomping on the flag. I don't think that's how she meant it.
Well, sorry.
But after what happened with her and, not wanting to go to the White House, which is fine. That's her opinion. I feel like that's not a good look if you just throw the flag on the ground. And I think she was stomping for a different reason. She was kind of just jumping up and down in celebration. But a lot of people took it as she was stomping on the flag.
So I didn't see. Sorry, we're having a camera error, guys. As you can probably see, you should be able to still hear us. But we are having a little bit of technical difficulties. As far as that goes, I don't really know. I didn't see that exact thing you're talking about. But so she nailed a while back, which I don't. If you're going to represent your country. That's a choice you made. No one forced you to. I think you should be required to stand for the national anthem if you're representing your country.
Yeah.
Now, when you're playing for club, whatever. I mean, that's up to you. I personally wouldn't do it, but if you're not representing your country, I don't think you should be required to. Which, I mean, I guess that does still kind of go against the Constitution, but you're there representing the United States. It's very, very different, in my opinion. But yeah, so that's probably where all that's coming from. And then, like you said, the White House statements. I mean, she's standing up for what she believes in, but I think, yeah, I mean, she's not kneeling anymore. She only did it once. So I don't necessarily have a problem with what she's doing anymore. I mean, do your thing. I don't necessarily agree or back her, but I don't necessarily have a problem with it either. I haven't seen the video you're talking about, so I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like she was celebrating, but she, like, put the flag on the ground, which is, like, a big no-no anyway.
Right.
To put the flag on the ground. But it was flag on the ground, and then she did, like, some celebration where she, like, was stomping or, like, chopping her feet or something.
Interesting.
And it was just like, probably wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound ideal or, the right way to handle it. But again, without seeing it, yeah, I don't know. So, but yeah, it definitely doesn't help that she's already had some.
Yeah.
Like
and is she happy that she won, or is she happy like the United States won? Or is she more happy about her team?
I think she's happy. I think she's happy for her team. She obviously loves to play for the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can love to do that and not necessarily agree with everything that goes on here. I mean, that's the big thing.
Right.
But yeah, I don't really have a. Like I said, I'm glad she's no longer kneeling, which I made a rule about it, which is a good rule in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like it. You're representing your country. It's a way different than someone who plays in the NFL. Which again, I mean, I'm not even saying whether I agree or disagree with it. I'm just saying when you represent your country, I feel like it's different. So,
yep, I agree with that.
Before we move on to of the weeks, Landon's got somebody to tell you about.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to tell you about our friends at SeatGeek. Let them take the confusion out of your ticket buying experience. Instead of shopping dozens of sites to find the best deal, let SeatGeek do the work for you. Their app scans the web for the best deals to your favorite game, concert, or show and rates them on a scale of 0 to 10 to let you know if you're getting the best bang for your buck. A green dot, great deal. Yellow dot, good deal. Red dot, not so good deal. Use promo code ACAA at checkout to receive $20 off your first purchase. That's 2 free beers at the stadium on them. What are you waiting for? That's promo code ACAA for $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek, live's an event. We have the tickets.
Go check them out, guys. SeatGeek's awesome. Can't wait to use them this football season. Super pumped to have them as a sponsor.
Absolutely. I used them already. And I used them again. I am going to a concert in December.
Oh, yeah? What concert? Tell me about this.
Luke Combs.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
Luke Combs. I wasn't really into... I was very into country when I was little and haven't been as much. But I like Luke Combs.
I do too. I'm not a big... I mean, honestly, I could listen to any kind of music all day.
Yeah.
If you've hung around me, you kind of know that. But I definitely like Luke Combs more than most country artists.
Yeah.
So, I will say that.
He's just a dude being a dude.
He's just a dude being a dude. That's absolutely true.
And long neck, ice cold beers never broke my heart either. So I agree with what he has to say. I definitely agree.
You got me some most importance?
Most importance. So most important.
Sorry guys, before we get in this, I'm working on the camera as we go too. I don't know what's happened to me. It's been working for 50 minutes and then it quits on me. That's awesome.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to me.
Well, we got through most of it. But 15-year-old phenom, Coco Gauff. She has been eliminated from Wimbledon, but she's the youngest to reach the main draw. She beat Venus Williams. It was one of her childhood idols. And then she advanced to the round of 16 at Wimbledon. That's probably the biggest tennis stage there is. And for a 15-year-old to make it that far, to beat the type of talent she beat is just incredible. Excited to see where kind of her tennis career leads her. She looks like maybe the Williams sisters will kind of pass the torch to her.
Yeah, another American to be doing it. That's awesome. Absolutely. My first most important is another kind of different sport that we don't talk about on here, but Matthew Wolff. He sunk. I mean, absolutely, no doubt about it, sunk a 26-foot putt for eagle on 18 at the 3M Open. It was his first career win. He's only been on tour for like a month or something like that. He also won an individual national championship at Oklahoma State this year. And he's one of only 3 players. It's Tiger Woods. I should have wrote it down the other guy to win a PGA Tour event and a national championship in the same year. So
Yeah.
he's balling out.
Huge.
Huge. Do you have any more?
That's all my most
I
important.
think I got a late
Actually,
nominee. Let me check.
I have one more.
Okay.
The Tennessee Smokies.
Oh, nope. Oh, that one. God.
The Tennessee Smokies put the Betty Ross
Yeah.
flag into their infield.
Awesome move by them. Their PR social media guy did learn a lesson from that, though.
Yes. He should have done it differently.
Don't create controversy when you don't need to.
Yeah, just do it. Take a picture of it. That's all you had to do. You didn't have to throw shade at anybody. You didn't have to tag anybody, but you did. And so you took a little bit of backlash from it.
Yeah, not a bad move by the Smokies. It looked really good.
Yeah, it looked cool.
So many.
Yeah,
so many cool things.
The picture was like, oh, sweet, they did that. That's cool. But then you're like, why did you say that with it? You didn't have to.
Yeah. So, but sorry, I lost my thing. My next most important is, we forgot to do this, so it's another most important. The Tennessee Vols, football Vols, announced their open practice date on August 4th.
Yep.
Sunday?
Fan day.
2:30, right?
It starts at 2:30.
That's too hot. I'm probably out.
And then the autographs are after that.
Yeah, which is cool since they didn't do it at the spring game.
Yeah, I think gates open at 1:30. And everything's free. So admission, parking, everything's free. So, I mean, I'll definitely probably attend. But if it's that hot, I'm probably not going to stay the whole time.
I'll probably attend, but I'll probably get miserable. Maybe we'll do a practice little tailgate. Football team's practicing, maybe we'll practice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sounds good to me.
Might do that. We'll see. Fail of the week.
Fail of the week.
Dude, I only had one coming into today, and then some people made some late pushes, and they were good late pushes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So my first one is a guy, I think he was a Braves fan. So Bryce Harper hit a home run, and it was Bryce Harper's 200th career home run and a thousandth career hit, and he threw it back. I'm just like, dude, that could have been a lot of money. Because if you would have messaged Bryce Harper and been like, hey, this is your 200th home run, a 1,000th career hit, would you sign it for me? He probably would have. But you threw it back onto the field. And you took it from a kid.
He took it from a kid. Oof.
Yeah.
He really went for it there.
Yeah. That's a fail.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
For sure. My first one is Shea Patterson. Did you see him?
Yeah, I did see that.
Shea Patterson tweeting from the wrong account. Thought he was tweeting from his burner account, I guess. Responded to someone. I'm going to read it. Quote, Patterson is going to be the best QB in the conference. Fields hasn't even played a snap yet. That kid's so overrated. Shea would have won the Heisman last season if Harbaugh had let him call the plays. Tweeted from @SheaPatterson1_1 with a check mark. That man. And then his family tried to say he got hacked. And I was like, do people hack you and say nice things about you?
Yeah, no. That's
like, I'm going to tweet from my account, like, Caleb is a handsome feller.
Yep.
And he's the strongest man alive. And
I'm just going to be like, and he should have won the Heisman.
Should have won the Heisman. Sorry, guys. I got hacked today. I don't know what that dude was doing. Can you believe him?
Butthole.
So, yeah, that's the new getting hacked right there.
Yeah, that's bad.
Pretty interesting.
My next fail.
Oh, you got a bunch too. Okay.
Yeah, I do have a couple. The guy who put the Georgia hat on Pat Summitt and made fun of her.
Why would you do that? Like, I just don't understand. Like, no one's gonna. Pat Summitt's so different than any other statue that's been done to. Like, I don't think anybody in the SEC, except that guy, obviously, would think that's funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to do it to Smokey. I don't really care. Like, if you want to say they're going to put a Georgia Bulldog, which they're not, but it's what he said. He was like, yeah, they're going to put Smokey's going to tuck his tail and run in a couple months. Like, that, I don't care. You're a weird dude, but whatever.
You're a weird dude.
But I mean, don't make fun of, like, how somebody actually passed away.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, and people have good points, which I was upset about this, too. Like, people pissing on the Bear Bryant statue. Like, that's not cool. But, like...
Good God.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, at least I'm consistent. But, yeah, I mean, it's not a huge deal. I just, like, why would you do that? Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's just dumb.
And you're doing it by yourself, which is weird anyway. And the dude, like, he didn't look like he was a very smart feller. Anyway, I mean, his ears, like, the top of his ears pointed directly east and west. So
I didn't see the guy actually.
So I mean, I feel bad for him in a way, but then you kind of put that on yourself to take some back. But he did apologize after.
Did he? I missed that.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
He was like, I didn't think it would be a big deal.
First off, never admit guilt. Never apologize.
And then never underestimate Tennessee Vol fans.
That's another thing. Like, why? Like, no one's ever going to help you. Like, none of your fans are going to help you at that point.
Yeah.
There's not enough of them.
Right.
Compared to Vol Twitter.
It was just bad. Somebody needs to find him and kick his ass. That'd be great.
I'm not necessarily against that either. No, I'm not going to.
I mean, I'm not
going to incite violence. I'm out.
I'm not going to do it, but if somebody else wants to, I won't be mad.
I won't be mad about it. That's funny. My next fail is... I pull this up. Sorry. Bryce Harper was featured on the All-Star Game banners. Which you might be like, Caleb, that's not a big deal. But Bryce Harper isn't an All-Star. He's like dead center too.
My man.
And he's like, look, he's on two of them. It's not like it got passed on one. And even that, it's a huge ass banner. How would that get passed?
Oh my gosh. That's terrible.
It's pretty rough. You got any more fails?
I do. Actually, Florida. You were talking about Florida.
Nice.
And how their offseason has been rough. To put it in a little bit more detail, Florida's had 4 transfer in the 2019 class. And in that 2019 class, it was their top-rated overall recruit. Mm-hmm. For Chris Steele. Jalen Jones was their quarterback in that class. He's gone. And then they've had 3 that have yet to make it to campus. So that's 7 guys out of their 25 that they had signed. 7 of those will not contribute or have yet to contribute. So rough. And then they've had 11 decommitments in 2019. For the 2020 class and 2021 class, they've had 11 decommitments. Something's going on at Florida.
It's been a rough go-around for Dan Mullen and company this offseason.
And somebody, I forget who pointed it out. I think it was Vol Recruiting 98. I think he pointed it out, like, Butch Jones had early success, good recruiting classes. A lot of those recruiting classes went to crap. And a lot of people transferred out, and then Florida hit rock bottom, or Tennessee hit rock bottom.
Right.
Is Dan Mullen on the same road? Is he on that Old Town Road?
He's not looking good right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to put him on the Butch Jones.
Yeah, yet, I mean, we'll have to see some on the field results from that.
Right.
But I think Dan Mullen is a good recruiter. I think he showed that, but something's weird for people to just be transferring out like crazy like this.
Right.
I mean, and Tennessee went through it. We lost a lot of people.
It was not ideal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely not ideal. But yeah, I'm not willing to put him on Butch Jones yet. So, that's the only fails I've got though.
That's all I've got as well.
We've got guys. I'm sorry that I've been working on it the whole time, but we're almost done. So I'm just gonna give this bad boy up for the night. I'll have it fixed by Wednesday. I promise that. Or no, probably Thursday this week, right? That we decided on.
We can go either day.
We'll let you know tomorrow probably. But we'll be back and we'll have it fixed, and you'll get to see my pretty ugly face. But you can also listen to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, ArmchairAllAmericans.com, Spotify, and many, many more. Just about anything you can listen to YouTube. Yep. Anything you listen to a podcast on, you can listen.
Absolutely.
So definitely go check us out on that. Anything else?
That's all I've got. Hope you guys have a great week. We will see you, like Caleb said, Wednesday or Thursday, and we're bringing the boat in, and we out.